And so it happened several times that the king of Israel would warn that Elisha would warn the king of Israel whenever the king of Aram was against him. And so finally the king went to his folk and he said, wait a minute. How is it that when I set up my troops, that before I even get there, that the king of Israel knows exactly the plans that I have for them? And the king said, and the people in the king's army said, no. It's not us, my lord. It's not us who are the traitor. He said, no, for somebody. And it's because Elisha has been informing the king of everything that you have been planning against him. And I said, God, now I don't understand. How is it that the people in the army of the king of Aram knew what was going on in the army of the Israelites? Oh, somebody doesn't understand what I'm talking about. How is it that the king of Aram could figure out and had people in his army to tell him what was going on the other side? And somebody needs to understand what I'm saying today, because I think I said this the last time I was here. But the only way that the enemy can find out about the things that you are doing is if somebody in your life is a double agent. Look at your neighbor and say, a double agent. The only way that the enemy will know what you're planning, the only way that the enemy will know how you're getting through is if there are some people in your life who are a double agent. And somebody is not going to like me right now, but I'm going to say it anyway. Somebody is not going to like me because they know that they have got to put some folk out of their life and they can't hang around the same folk anymore. If the people that you go home with and you go and you stand in a lotto line with them, they are a double agent because they are leading you away from the plans of God. If the folk that you are hanging out with are coming into your life doing everything that does not please the Lord, but they're sitting right beside you on the pew in church, they are a double agent because they have been sent to you directly from hell to take you back down to where you've come out of. And God said, I brought you out of the darkness into my marvelous light, and I don't want you to be confused about the stuff that's going on in your life. There are some people who mean you absolutely, positively no good, and because they see that their life is going nowhere, they don't want you to go anywhere either. And God says, I'm unveiling the covers. I'm letting you see who's in your life, and I'm letting you see who's for you and who is against you. Because if you do not understand this, my brother and my sister, know that any person who is going back to hell and making a report to the devil on you only means you harm, and there is nothing that you can share with them for the plans that God has for you. They cannot have any clue about. There are some people who are listening to you attentively to understand exactly what it is that you're trying to do. Every time you tell them, no, I'm going to find another job. I'm tired of working my job. I'm tired of dealing with the same stuff day in and day out. And you know a double agent, when every time they come to you, they have a word of discouragement. Every time they come into your life, they tell you, well, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't think about doing the other. But God says that I want you to go higher and higher. God says, I want you to move on up to the next level, and there is no reason for you to stay where you are. And as long as you have dreams and aspirations about being somebody better, about doing something better, there are people in your life who will plant seeds of discouragement, and you have to start to pay attention to the folk around you in your life. If when you leave out of their company, you are more lost than what you were when you got there, if you leave out of their company and you feel more beat down than what you did when you got there, then baby, they are a double agent, and they have been sent to you directly from the forces of hell because they are trying to keep you from reaching the plans that God has for you in your life. And somebody needs to understand even right now that God says, I want to bless you. I want to do things for you in your life. I want to open up the windows of heaven so that you will not have room enough to receive the blessing, but somebody is telling you you can't tithe. Give that $1 for the preacher and the $1 for the church and keep the rest so that you can pay your bills. And God says, no, you robbed me, and a curse is against your life. And the folk who understand that they are where they are, misery loves company, and there are some folk who understand that they are not going to move from where they are, and they want company right there. But understand, my brother, understand, my sister, that your righteousness before God exposes the darkness in other people, and that's why some folk don't want you around. That's that's why some folk don't like you anymore, and that's why some folk don't want to see you do any better. Oh, but you have to understand that God told you about them even before they got there, because God says that there are some people who you cannot have around you in your life any longer. Somebody give God some praise.